Hello students. So in previous class we have discussed the classification of elements based on their blocks, that are SPDF blocks, and in today's session we are going to learn about types of elements based on their properties. So we will be having four types of element, that is type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, which are also having another name. Type 1 elements are called inert gases or noble gases. Type 2 elements are called representative elements. Type 3 elements are called transition elements, and type 4 are nothing but inner transition elements. So each and everything we are going to discuss in a detailed manner now. So first one is noble gases. So the elements in which the outermost S and P subshells are completely filled are called noble gases. That means the outermost electronic configuration NS2 and P6. For example, 1s2, 1p6 we are going to say, no. So in s orbital subshell they will be having 2 electrons, and in p subshell they will be having 6 electrons. That means they will be having completely filled outermost electronic configuration. So here it will be 2, here it will be 6. So 2 plus 6 it will be 8, isn't it? So the presence of 8 electrons in their outermost shell is also called as octet configuration. Octet means 8. So this significance of octet is that it explains its stability. So when they are having 8 electrons in their outermost shell, it shows that element is very stable. Understand? So due to their low reactivity, elements of group 18 are also called inert gases. Okay, due to their low reactivity. Why they are low reactive, children? Because they are not having excess electrons or low exactly 8 electrons are present in their outermost shell. That means they obey octet rule. So that is why they are less reactive when compared with any other elements. If they are having less electrons, they usually gain the electrons to get 8 electronic configuration. If they are having more electrons, they usually lose the electron to get 8 electronic configuration. So here what is happening? They will be having 8 electrons in their outermost shell. So due to this they are low reactive. Okay, so low reactive, as they are low reactive, the group 18 elements are also called as inert gases. So what are the elements which are present in 18th group? They are nothing but helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. So these elements belongs to the 18th group in the periodic table, or 8th also we can say. When we see the general electronic configuration, general valency shell configuration, that is NS2 and P6, except helium. Why helium? Because helium atomic number is 2, isn't it? That is 1s2. So it obeys only duplet rule, not octet. So as it is having subshell completely filled, it also a noble gas. And the remaining all 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 4p6, like that it will be go on increasing, but the outermost shell will be ns2, np6. N is the number of the shell. Either it may be 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. Anyhow, the S shell will be completely filled and P subshell also completely filled. So the general electronic configuration of noble gases is ns2, np6. So these are called rare gases and aerogens. Why they are called rare gases? Because they are not found in an atmosphere, means in large quantity. Very less amount we can see, only in less quantity. That means the natural availability of this element is very less, and are also, that is why they are called as rare gases. And why they are called as aerogens? Because in the air, okay, in the atmosphere only they can be present. The first compound of xenon was reported with the fluorine. Okay, xenon fluoride, when xenon and fluorine combined, it was first reported in the year 1962. Thereafter these elements are called noble gases. From there they got the name as noble gases. Next comes to characteristics. These elements do not participate in chemical reaction, so these are called inert gases. As we previously discussed, why they are not participating? Because they are not having any excess electron or less electrons. So when they have more or less electron, then only they are going to be participate, but they are having completely filled outermost electronic configuration, isn't it? That is why they do not participate in any chemical reaction. So these elements, these are monoatomic gases. Mono means a single. Okay, monoatomic monoatomic gases. Why they are called monoatomic gases, children? Because they do not combine with the same type of element again. So for example, we will see O2, H2, Cl2 like that. But here they are not like that. Only the elemental formula: helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. So as they are having number of atoms 1, they are called as monoatomic. Okay, so the number of atoms present in one molecule of an element is called atomicity. So here they belongs to monoatomic gases. That means they will be having single atom. For example, O2 is there. That means it is a diatomic. Okay, diatomic atom. That means two atoms are combined. For example, S4, that means tetraatomic, like that. They are monoatomic. Next, they have high ionization potential. And the next characteristics are they have high ionization potential and the electron affinity of this element is 0. That means they do not lose the electron or they do not gain the electron. Gaining of electron is nothing but electron affinity. Why? Because their outermost electronic configuration is completely filled, isn't it? So that is why they have high ionization potential and electron affinity is also 0. So next type of elements are type 2. They are representative elements. So here the elements which contains outermost S and P subshell are incompletely filled. When the subshell S and P are incompletely filled, then that elements are called representative elements. So when we see the general electronic configuration, that is NS122, NP125. So what I said, they are incompletely filled. S and P subshells are incompletely filled. That is why NS122 and NP125, isn't it? So here 1 to 6 means that it will be completely filled, but it is about 1 to 5 only, isn't it? That is why they are called as representative elements. Next, except 8A group, remaining S and P block elements are all representative elements. So S block elements 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A, 7A, up to 7A, all the elements are called as representative elements. So these elements undergo chemical reaction, whereas inert gases do not undergo chemical reaction, but these elements undergo chemical reactions because to acquire nearest inert gas configuration, either by losing or by gaining or by sharing of electrons. Some of them may even get pseudo inert configuration also. For example, here, okay, we will take 1A and 2A. In 1A example, I am taking sodium. Sodium atomic number is 11. What is its electronic configuration, children? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. So 1 electron is more for sodium, isn't it? If it loses 1 electron, the inner subshells are completely filled. That is 2s2, 2p6. So 2s2, 2p6 means it is a near inert gas configuration, isn't it? Near neon inert gas configuration. That means then the sodium attains stability. So here some elements either loses the electron or some elements may gain the electron. For example, chlorine is there. Chlorine atomic number is 17, isn't it? What is its electronic configuration? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5. So 5 electrons are present in a 3p shell. If it gains 1 electron, then 3s2, 3p6 you are going to get for chlorine. That means it is a near inert gas configuration again, isn't it? NS2, NP6. So the elements which are present in representative group, either they lose the electron or gain the electron or share the electron to attain stability. So we are going to see their characteristics now. These elements participate in chemical reaction by losing or gaining or by sharing of electrons. All non-metals, metalloids and a few number of metals are present in this. So non-metals usually gain the electron, metals usually loses the electron. So metalloids which are have the characteristics of both metals and non-metals. Next, higher atomic number elements have pseudo inert gas configuration. Pseudo means false inert gas configuration. Higher atomic number elements have false inert gas configuration to attain stability. Yes. Next one, third type, type 3 element, they are called transition elements. The elements which have ultimate and penultimate shells are incomplete, then that elements are called transition elements. That means inner shell, ultimate, okay, outer shell, inner shell, like this it will be, it is the nucleus, ultimate and penultimate shell, both the shells are incomplete, then that types of elements are known as transition elements. For example, for their general electronic configuration is n minus 1 d 1 to 10, that is inner, and ns outer shell, okay, ns that is 1 or 2. So in this 2b group elements are not considered as transition elements. So look at here children, so these are called transition elements, in which 2b elements are not considered as transition elements because they are having completely filled d orbital, okay, completely filled d orbital, whereas transition element they are having incomplete d subshell. That is why remaining all are called transition elements except second b group. Next, 1b group elements are called typical transition elements. This is 1b, these are called typical transition elements. So all d block elements are not transition elements, but all transition elements are d block elements. So here one thing, all d block elements, is all, okay, the elements which are present in d block are not transition, because this one is not transition, this is not transition, but all transition elements are d block elements. So if we see their characteristics, transition elements exhibit different properties. Why they exhibit different properties? Because they have small size, high nuclear charge, presence of empty d orbitals. So what they are having? They are having small size. The size of an element is small, and when the size of the element is small, for example like this, the nuclear charge will be more, the outermost electron and the nuclear, the attraction will be more. That means they are having high nuclear charge and presence of d orbitals, and d orbital is also present. That is why they will be exhibit different properties. For example, transition elements exhibit variable oxidation state also. So iron, which belongs to this group, transition element, which exhibits +2 oxidation state and at the same time +3 oxidation states. So it is different, same element, different oxidation state. They form colored compounds and colored ions in solution due to d-d transition of electrons by absorbing visible light. So d-d transition, okay, d-d transition of electron, the electron will jump from d orbital to t orbital. So due to that also they will appear, or they will give some color, and they are also paramagnetic in nature. Iron, cobalt, nickel are ferromagnetic, and they also possess catalytic activity. That means catalyst, some of them are used as a catalyst. Nickel is used as a catalyst in hydrogenation of oils, and iron in Haber's process in the preparation of ammonia. Molybdenum will be act as a promoter in Haber's process, isn't it? So these are some of the characteristic properties of transition elements, and they also form complex compounds and alloys. Their common oxidation state will be +2. Understand children? And they will be having high melting point and boiling point, and density is also more. Next, last one comes to inner transition elements. So the elements which have ultimate, penultimate and anti-penultimate, and third subshell also, okay, from last 1, 2, 3, from last ultimate, penultimate and anti-penultimate, all the three. See, look at here, ultimate, penultimate and anti-penultimate shell, all the three subshells are incomplete, then that elements are called inner transition elements. That means n subshell, n-1 subshell, n-2 subshell also. N means outermost shell, before one is n-1, before that is n-2. So all f block elements are inner transition elements. So f block elements belongs to inner transition elements, and their general valency electronic configuration is n-2 f 1 to 14, n minus 1d, 0 or 1, and ns 2. So all are incomplete. Okay, they will be having incomplete electronic configuration, and the elements which are present in F block are all are heavy metals. So the elements which are present in F block are nothing but lanthanides and actinides, corresponding to 4F and 5F series. Okay, all the inner transition elements are metals, and they are also called heavy metals. If you see their characteristic, they exhibit variable oxidation state and magnetic property also, magnetism also. Okay, they will exhibit variable oxidation state. In some process they will be exhibit less number of oxidation state, and in some process they will be having high oxidation state. Next, they are also known to form complex compounds. So these elements combined with another group of elements to form complex compounds. Common oxidation state of inner transition elements are +3. For transition elements it is +2. For inner transition element it is +3. So this is about the types of elements, okay, based on their properties. Next one, classification into metals and non-metals. Again, classification into metals and non-metals. So in SPDF block, some elements are metals, some are non-metals, and some are metalloids. So metals, non-metals, and metalloids. So first we look into metals. So 75% of the periodic table consists of metals. So more than 75% are metals in the periodic table. So where they are present? On the left side of the periodic table. So S block, okay, left side of the periodic table consists of metals. So the metals, all metals are solid at their room temperature. Okay, when they are solid at room temperature, they automatically have high melting and boiling point. Okay, all metals have high melting and boiling point. So to liquefy the metals like iron, it takes lot of time, lot of temperature also, isn't it? That is why they will be having high melting and boiling point. And as they are having solids and they are having high melting and boiling point, they will be a good conductors of heat and electricity. They can, that is why we will use some metals. For example, take a spoon, take an iron piece and keep it on a stove. Okay, keep it on that flame. What happened? The particles which are present in that solid, for example iron paste we are taking, and here we giving some amount of heat energy. So here the particle which are present inside this iron rod, it first gets heated up. So when it gets heated up, it start vibrating, and near another particle it also gets heated up, and so on. The whole iron piece is going to be heated. So equal amount of energy is passed over the iron rod, isn't it? That means from one side, if at one end if you are giving some heat energy, the same amount of energy is transferred to another at the other end also, isn't it? So if you keep this side on the stove, it side you can touch with your hand? No, because it will be very hot. That means they are a good conductors of heat. And for electricity also we are using for copper wire, silver wire, okay, and most of the wires we are using in that for electricity. So these are some example. Next one, they are highly malleable and ductile. Malleable means they can be made into thin wires, thin sheets, okay, iron sheets. So malleable means we can made into sheets, and ductile means they can be drawn into wires, they can be made into wires. So generally all metals reacts with dilute acids. Next comes to non-metals. Okay, about 1 dozen elements or non-metals in the periodic table. They are present at top right hand side. Okay, top right hand side of the periodic table. Normally all non-metals are gases at their room temperature. Some are solids, and they will be having low melting and boiling point. Usually gases are having low melting and boiling point, and they are poor conductors of heat and electricity. Yes, they are poor conductors of heat and electricity. They cannot generate, for example, gas, oxygen, nitrogen, like that. They cannot conduct the heat and electricity, isn't it, as they are gases. So except graphite. Graphite is a good conductor of electricity, isn't it? We already know that. Next one, all non-metals are brittle in nature, they can be easily breakable, and non-malleable, non-ductile. As they are gases, some are solids, but they cannot be malleable, they cannot be made into sheets, or they cannot be drawn into wires. Usually they react with alkali solution. Okay, next comes to metalloids. So metalloids, they exhibit both metallic and non-metallic properties. Okay, metalloids are present between S and P block. Okay, they exhibit both metallic and non-metallic properties. They are placed in P block elements. Okay, most of them are placed in P block elements. Some examples are, here I have given some examples: germanium, okay, arsenic, and tellurium, etc. Okay, these are some examples of metalloids. Next comes to nomenclature of elements. So nomenclature, giving name to the elements. So the elements which are after from 101 to 118, how you are going to give the name? For example, digits. See, digits I have written here 0, 1 to 9, and the name. So for 0, the name will be nil. Okay, for 1 it will be an. Abbreviation is starting letter will be an abbreviation for these names. Next, 2 means bi, 3 means tri, 4 means quad, 5 means pent, 6 means hex, 7 means sept, 8 means oct, 9 means n, and their respective abbreviation form. Okay, so now for example, 101 element, atomic number is 101. What is the root name of the element? 1 means what you have to write, children? An. Okay, 0 means what you have to write? Nil. Okay, and nil, again 1 is there, 1, again write un. Okay, u and nil and em, ium. Okay, 101, the atomic number, it is an atomic number, it is the name of that element, and nil unium. What is the symbol for this, children? U, first letter should be capital U. Okay, nil means N, and again an means a small letter, it is U. Like this you have to write. For example, 102, what you will write? 1 means an, 0 means nil, 2 means bi. Okay, bm, and nil bm. Okay, so U N B. For example, 103, what is the name, children? An nil tree. Okay, tri, U M, and nil trium. Okay, and nil trium. So what is the abbreviation? U N T. So on you can write like this. For example, I am going to write 101. 111. So what is the name for this, children? An. Okay, an niyam, ananyam. Okay, ananyam, u. For example, 115. So what is the name? An. 5 means pent, P-E-N-T-I-U-M, anan pentium. So the abbreviation is U-U-P. So like this, understand? So this is how we are going to give the name for the elements which are from 101 to 115. This is also called as a nomenclature for heavy element, the atomic elements with atomic number more than 100. Understand? So try to write from 101 to 115 as an homework. From 101 to 115, their names you have to write. Okay, with their atomic name. It is a homework for you. Okay, children, this is for today's class. Thank you.